Good evening, everyone. It is my honor to be here with members of the House leadership, Leader Hoyer, Whip Clyburn, Assistant Speaker Catherine Clark, also with our managers for the impeachment, our lead manager Jamie Raskin, Diana DeGette, David Cicilline, Joaquin Castro, Eric Swalwell, Madeline Dean, and Joe Neguse. I think Ted Lieu and Stacey Pascal are in here electronically one way or another, but we're very proud that they have accepted the responsibility, a responsibility we did not think 1 week ago we would have. Today, in a bipartisan way, the House demonstrated that no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. That Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to our country, and that once again, we honored our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help us God. And now, I sadly, and with her heart broken over what this means to our country, of a president who would incite insurrection, will sign the engrossment of the article of impeachment.
Signing and certifying the bill to make it official, the article of impeachment entitled Incitement of Insurrection. There you see it right there. So it's a done deal as far as the House of Representatives is concerned. That document now will be formally submitted to the U.S. Senate, where there will be a trial. It's unclear when the document will be sent to the House, and it's unclear when the Senate will then begin a trial.
How long do you think the trial will last?
When do you plan to sign the paperwork for the Senate?
Response to McConnell tonight? Speaker Pelosi?
All right, so you heard Armando Raju try to get a question how long this trial might last. Couldn't hear her answer. But Dana, you covered Capitol Hill for a long time. It's a pretty dramatic moment, a signing ceremony like that, especially when it involves something that has never happened in American history before, a president impeached for the second time.
It really is. And the speed with which the House did this, I mean, obviously the clock was working against them. The calendar was working against them when it comes to President Trump actually being a current president. He's only 1 week away from being replaced by the man who defeated him. But absolutely, as you said, this is history. This is a sad stain on the history of this country that a U.S. president is impeached not once but twice. And the fact that the vote that took place today had 10 people in the president's own party voting to impeach him, our Adam Levy, who was doing some research, confirmed that this is the most members of the president's own party who have done that. So the president made history in that way too. You know, he's certainly busting norms in many, many ways. Most of the things that we have been talking about over the past few months, at least, even more, are norm busting that he will be remembered for in very, very negative ways. And he will be infamous in many ways in history books. And, you know, that's not what Donald Trump wanted, but that's what he made for himself. Wolf.
You know, Abby, I want to get your thoughts as well as we watch what's going on. It's, as we all have been saying, one of those moments that we'll always remember, and it happens exactly 1 week. As John King pointed out, 1 week ago, Wednesday, there was this insurrection led by this pro-Trump mob that stormed Capitol Hill. And 1 week from today, next Wednesday, the next president, the next vice president of the United States will be sworn in, and there will be a new administration.
2 weeks in American history that I think will live on forever. And in so many ways, just watching Nancy Pelosi sign that document today, you're reminded that this is happening because one branch of government, the executive branch, incited a mob of people to attack another branch of government. That's a really extraordinary thing, and one that really doesn't have a precedent. I think it's sobering in so many ways to see members of Congress. This is not just about ethical conduct or political conduct that they find inappropriate. These were people who lived through an attack on their lives, who were running for their lives and fleeing people who were chanting, you know, hang Mike Pence, and seeking to kill Nancy Pelosi in the congressional chambers. It cannot be, forgotten that that is just a shocking. That was a shocking act that we all witnessed here a week ago, and it's resulted in record time in the impeachment of a president for a second time. And by this time next week, after Joe Biden is inaugurated, we'll be talking about what happens in the Senate and what this means for President Trump. I mean, in addition to the president being impeached a second time, the Senate has already said they're going to be deliberating whether to bar him from ever holding federal office again. So we're not done with the history here, Wolf. I think there's so much more to come in terms of the ways in which, you know, President Trump has forged a really unprecedented path and cemented his place in American history, but not in a good way.
You know, and Dana, what's pretty amazing and very sad is that, yes, there were 10 Republican House members who voted in favor of impeaching the president, but there were others who really wanted to do so, but they were scared. They were scared of threats that they were receiving to themselves and to their family. They worried about that, and as a result, they decided not to vote in favor of impeachment. That's a pretty frightening thing to think about.
There were some who voted that way. At least they're saying so because of threats to their security. But let's be clear, Wolf. Most people who voted against impeachment did so because their fear was of losing their power. Their fear was of the people who are in their base, in their communities, in their constituencies, who are absolute supporters of President Trump and believe all of the things that he has been telling them for the past 2 months that are lies about this election, and the conservative media that has bolstered all of those lies. And they were scared of voting in the way that would elicit a primary from the right and them losing their seat. And that's why we saw in the speeches that were made, in some of them quite courageously, saying that they understand the politics I just described. And they voted yes because they felt it was the right thing to do.
And they believe, John, that Trump is still going to have a lot of influence within the Republican Party after he leaves the White House.
I think that is one of the big debates still to come. How will the Biden presidency get out of the gates in this polarized partisan climate where the new president will be asking for the Senate to confirm his cabinet at the very moment they will be starting to organize an impeachment trial for Donald Trump, who will have left town? What will the Republican Party do? You can be certain. You can be certain. We have watched it play out for 4 years, so do not doubt it for a second that the soon-to-be former president, Donald Trump, will try to exact revenge on those 10 who voted against him today and on any who vote against him in the Senate. That is what he has done for 4 years. There is every reason to expect. His son said it. His son said it at that rally, or right around that rally a week ago, that we will come for you. We will come for you if you defy us. So we're going to watch this play out. There's another question, too. Will those, like Liz Cheney, her father, the former vice president, the more establishment, traditional conservative Republicans who have decided to plant the flag here, will they try to raise money, to mount an effort to have primary challenges against some of those who stood with the president, not just today, but for the last 2 months? I know there are a lot of Democrats who will say for the last 4 years. I like to focus on the last 2 months when the president lost an election, the will of the people, the most cherished thing the United States does. And they supported his lies, including in the hours after those riots 1 week ago. So the Republican Party is just beginning a new chapter, even as we are getting to the final pages of the Trump first term, with the biggest question in that chapter is, does the Senate convict? But Donald Trump is not going to go quietly into the night. And his party has it's a boiling cauldron right now, and we don't know how it is going to turn out. A big piece of that is trying to find out how big is the, in 10 Republicans stood up to the president today, How much support do they get when it gets to the Senate? I think that is a defining moment for the Republican Party and its future. The names will be recorded in history. And I do think what the president says and does between now and then will go a long way in determining what does Mitch McConnell do? What does he say publicly? How many people come over to that side? We know there will be at least a few. Will there be more? We don't know that.